Hello, my curious souls. Welcome in or welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here. Thank you for stopping by and sharing your time and energy with me today. My name is Amanda, and today we have a collective tarot reading all about self-love. And it may not be what you think. This tarot reading was actually inspired by RuPaul. And if you've not seen the show, at the end of each episode, he says, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? And I saw one of his Instagram posts today from a couple weeks back. And he went into explaining the inspiration and what it actually means. And I thought this was a really good idea or a topic idea for a collective reading because it came through very strongly and I resonated with it quite a lot. When we think of self-love, we think of loving our body, of really falling in love with ourselves and loving every part of ourselves. That can be quite a high achievement for a lot of us. And I feel, just like RuPaul feels, that self-love is an endless process and it is a journey to get to that destination. So when we're looking or thinking about self-love, how are we not only connecting in with all of the parts of ourselves, but how are we managing or offering compassion for and loving the parts of ourselves that we feel to or deem to be unlovable? So, for example, if we are moving through anxiety, if we are having some kind of emotional or mental flashback from our childhood, or if we are moving through difficulty, pain, challenge, whatever the kind of the denser energies are, how are we showing up for ourselves in those moments? How are we caring for ourselves? How are we offering compassion and kindness and strength in those moments? Self-love is not necessarily a feeling, it is an action. So it's not just about how we see ourselves. It's also about how we care for ourselves, how we lift ourselves up. So because it's so complex and layered and personal to each one of us, it's going to take time to get it right and to start feeling the way we want to feel. And when we talk about the Sun card, for example, in the tarot, the Sun can speak to our personality and how we express ourselves to the world. Our joys, our happiness, our personality. It's our identity. It's our expression. It's how we show up in the world, how we relate to ourselves. It can be the ego part of us as well. So I thought this was a really kind of an interesting topic to do a collective reading on. So let's get into the reading now and see what would like to come through for this topic. Just trying to think. Yeah, we will start with this deck to open the reading, and we will get a sense from the collective. We'll get an energy check-in of how things are currently feeling, how you're currently feeling. Okay. Suffering and silence. This is the Nine of Swords in the traditional tarot. And we will get one more. Obstacles and challenges, which is the Five of Wands in the traditional tarot. So there's something here that I feel are moving through, overcoming. There could be possibly some changes that are maybe having you that are having you feeling out of step with yourself. The thoughts and the anxieties and the worries are overpowering your sense of self, your sense of true expression, your sense of your identity even. There's some level of suppression with the suffering and silence where you are staying small or playing small or simply just feeling like you're in this endless tunnel of possibly despair, of challenges like I'll never break free. Interesting, I said 3. You could be looking for expansion in your life. You could be wanting that next step to see expansion because you may have gone through a lot of change, a lot of challenges, and overcome a lot of obstacles. I almost feel like this is the last one. in this particular, possibly this particular scenario, not in life, because there's always going to be challenges in life and things to overcome. But I feel like whatever this has been going on for some time. And I say that because we have the World card at the bottom of the deck, which indicates the completion of a significant cycle or event in your life, and hence the starting of a new one. And when we are moving through this ending, there's a lot of things shifting and changing as we tie up the loose ends. So I feel like this is kind of a picture of kind of where you are, looking out into the horizon. And interesting, we have the sun here. So it's almost like you're finding yourself again in this despair, in this stress, in this anxiety. So when you're in this moment, I want to ask, how are you showing up for yourself to ease your stress, to offer yourself compassion, to maybe even offer yourself a little bit of mothering energy, to comfort and care for and offer space for certain feelings to come through without judgment, without needing to fix or to heal in this moment, but to simply feel and process. I feel like, as I mentioned earlier, kind of this last step, this is not only a number 9 before we get to the end of this particular suit, but there's also mountains here, which can indicate obstacles and struggles. So it's almost like you are here. You are here. This is you. And this is kind of a close-up view of you, kind of moving over the chasm and seeing the kind of the danger in overcoming this and not wanting to out of fear, because what lies on the other side of this, you can kind of almost feel it and maybe even see glimpses of what is or what could be, but you're not quite sure because this is so overpowering. I feel you might have some helpers if you believe in guides, angels, spirits. I'm getting fairies from this, but even here we have birds kind of in the sky, and I really get a sense that you are being guided here for some reason, and I feel it's because of this kind of this ending of a cycle here. A significant chapter in your life is coming to some kind of close, and this could be it. The suffering and silence could be it. So is there some way that you can communicate or at least process? I think you can't think your way out of this particular situation. This is something that you may have to take action on. And you may have to, I don't want to say fight through, because fight feels like such a physical, has such a physical connection. When I say fight, I'm speaking to fighting against the thing that's trying to keep you small, that's trying to hold you back. That it's kind of not only overcoming this challenge that you see in front of you, but I feel like there's this challenge within, this overcoming the obstacles that are within. And I feel like it's really asking you to break free from that, to become conscious and aware of these particular things, thoughts, limiting beliefs, and the things that you're worrying about that you may not have control over, to let that go for a time and come back to what you can control, those steps that you can take within this obstacle and challenge. Interesting that I'm being tied to a bit of a collective message that kept coming to me yesterday, but I kind of ignored it. So it seems to be coming through now. So I'm going to share it. It is that I'm going to get an example here, just as a card. I don't know which one. I'm going to put it upside down so we don't get distracted by the text. But think of this as your whole kind of life experience. And this may come out, I don't know if it's quite thought out yet, but it's how it's came to me. So I'm going to share it like this. This is kind of your whole experience, your whole life experience. And maybe this is you being in the middle and the circumstances that surround you at this time. And think of this as a pie chart. So this pie chart has 3 slices in it, and one slice is the circumstance, and how big is that circumstance and how much can you control. When the circumstance is so large, you probably have very little control and maybe even very little choice. So kind of looking at that, now if the circumstance is kind of a half and half, and then the choice is a little bit bigger, or the control is a little bit bigger, then you have a little bit more power to make choices and have a little more control within your circumstances. But sometimes this half of the pie, this circumstance, might be a little bit smaller. I hope I'm kind of explaining that. But basically what I'm trying to get to here is that to look at the choices and the control that you have within the circumstance that you find yourself in. What are you focused on at this time? Are there things that you're focused on that you have no control over? And maybe this is also past energy as well. So if you're not seeing yourself currently in the situation where you're worrying and you're struggling and you're stressing and you feel so isolated, that maybe this is a past energy. So how much control or how much choice did you have, or do you have, in this particular circumstance that you find yourself in, the obstacles and challenges that you find yourself in? If it's so big that you don't have the choice or the control, then you can't necessarily change the circumstance, but you can change the steps that you take and even manage the feelings and the emotions and kind of the mental aspects that come up at this time. Again, I hope I'm making sense of this, but sometimes channeled messages come out a little bit abstract, so I just have to run with it. So let's take a look now at a little bit more detail. We'll get another card or two for each side, and then we will get some advice energy kind of on the bottom here. So what is the suffering in silence? The Emperor in reverse. So this could have some connection with a father figure or some kind of person in authority. It could be a boss figure, male or female, somebody who likes to micromanage and or who likes to control the situation, who likes to have things run on a tight ship, or they run a tight ship, something that has to be, somebody that needs to have everything in place so that they can feel comfortable within themselves. So I feel like you are almost worrying and having a lot of concern over this person, and maybe possibly trying to appease them or change your own thoughts, behaviors, and actions to make sure that you don't catch their wrath. And that is understandable. This is a kind of a fear-based, I don't want to say codependency, but it's just something that's fear-based, and this is causing you a lot of stress in your interactions with this person. So it's really hard to shine your light and offer yourself that self-love and express that self-love when you have somebody that could possibly be very suppressive, controlling, or manipulative. And this person kind of has their own ideas in mind about how they think things should be. And no matter what you do or what you say, that there's nothing that really pleases them. There's nothing, you can't seem to do anything right. So it's almost like, why are you worrying about something that in someone that you can't control or change or fix, when no matter what you do, you're always going to be wrong in their eyes? So this might be a time, and this might be the challenge and the change that you're overcoming, is that it's time to come back to self and offer yourself that love that you're not getting from this situation, this environment, or this person. More information on the obstacle and challenge, please. Maybe some advice. Well, we're going to get advice. So more information on the obstacle and challenge, please. Thank you. The Eight of Swords. So I feel this started out very, I don't want to say innocently, but it started out with the 8 and ended up in the 9. So it started within self at first. You internalized a lot, you personalized a lot, you felt stuck, or maybe you feel stuck and you don't know how to move out of it. And there is certain circumstances and situations where people can't get out of connections with people who are manipulative and controlling, whether that is work, whether that is a family member that you're living with, etc. So the key is to not shame yourself and to find tools to navigate the situation and to offer yourself self-love and care in the midst of this challenge and these changes that you're moving through. Now, suffering in silence, I'm almost feeling like there needs to be a connection with either a therapist, a counselor, or some kind of support network, whether that is friends, family, somebody that you trust, and somebody that can help you build the tools in your tool belt to be able to manage your way through this and possibly detach yourself from this, because I feel this has been somewhat of a cycle. Eights do speak to cycles for some time, and because it has hung around for so long and hasn't been managed or hasn't been dealt with, because it might be impossible to deal with it and change it, it has escalated within your mind. So this could also have turned into somewhat of a depression, and to the point where you've internalized it so much that it's kind of mentally got you in a bit of a rumination energy. I should have done this, I should do that, I should go here, I should do there, I shouldn't do this. And you've really put a lot of weight on your shoulders to change the situation and this person, when this person and this situation, I feel, is never going to change in the way that you need it to change. So not to say that people can't change, because I've seen it, but how much do you need? And this is where the needs come in. I feel like you're neglecting your own needs, your mental health, maybe your physical health, your emotional health. Interesting, emotional help. Again, it's coming back to that not suffering in silence bit. Emotional health. So you are maybe ignoring or putting aside your needs, the healthy boundaries that you need to have in place to feel respected and worthy for this person, that I feel has really overpowered. He's a major arcana. These other ones, with the exception of the one that I intentionally pulled for this reading, are minors. So again, that feeling of feeling small, of not being seen, not being heard, not being considered. And I feel like you've tried so hard to get this person to consider your feelings and hold you in high regard and to show them your worth, when they just clap back with something that makes you feel even worse. So really heavy stuff. And bottom of the deck, we do have the Tower card. And so I feel like this particular situation is coming to a natural end. Not necessarily because you've been passive about it, but I feel you've gotten to a bit of a breaking point. You've had enough. There is lots of pain that you have endured, and you're coming to the point now where enough is enough. And I feel like the foundations within yourself have to be repaired, torn down, and built back up, because what this person has done has impacted you very significantly. So when we talk about self-love in this instance, this is coming back to self, and people say bring back your power, to kind of not seek validation in this person or this situation, but to validate ourselves, to find ways to validate and offer compassion for, and offer comfort for, be our own best friend in this moment. And I feel that's part, you have to break down the foundations of whatever you've built up within this circumstance, within this person. Could be spiritual foundations, mental foundations, even physical foundations, where they have to be torn apart in order to make space for the new things. This might, the Moon card is under that, which there's a lot of unknowns in doing that. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of confusion, because maybe this has been somewhat of a comfort to you with this person. But I do feel like there needs to be some level of reservedness. Reserve your time, your energy, maybe even limit your time and energy with this person, even money, if you are giving this person money, again, out of fear tactics. But I fear. I feel that this is a huge transition for you in so many ways. This is a big deal. And you might go through a period of darkness as you sift through all of this stuff, process all of this stuff, because I feel this is an accumulation of mental energy that you have not quite yet processed. And if you are dealing with a narcissist, I recommend checking out Dr. Ramani. If I remember, I will put a link to her channel below. I am not affiliated, but I have found her videos so helpful. And there's also a book that I'm reading called From Surviving to Thriving, Complex PTSD, and I will put the link for that book in the description box below as well. And this has helped me develop so many tools to move through difficult energy and to not judge, to not shame, to offer a healthy and loving space for myself. And that is self-love, is how do we hold ourselves in these spaces when it gets tough, when we can't change the circumstance, when we can't change or control other people. How are we showing up for ourselves? Again, coming back to self. And just to quickly touch on the obstacles and challenges connected in with this Eight of Swords. In the Eight of Swords, her feet are not bound, so she has the ability to move, and I feel like that is part of the message here, and part of your obstacle and challenge is that regardless of whether you can see clearly, and regardless of maybe some of the limiting beliefs that have been imparted on you from others, or that is within your own mind, making you feel like you can't do anything about your situation. Again, coming back to those small mindful movements, those choices that you can make in this moment that can get you over this chasm. Okay, so let's get some advice now. And I didn't actually think this video would be longer than 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but I feel this is important. And for some reason, I thought I did a self-love video. Maybe I didn't. I've forgotten if I have. Maybe I did it and then deleted it. Could have been one of those days where I started in and it just didn't feel right. So I'm coming back to it. Here we go. Got some advice now. And if I did duplicate this particular topic, that's okay. We can all use a little more self-love. So 2 more for advice, Spirit, on this situation for self-love. 2 more. 1 more. Thank you. 1 more for the collective, please. Self-love. Okay, you got 2. That's all right. So the first one that came out was a star. Yeah, follow your North Star. Follow what feels right. Follow what feels good. Follow the feelings. And also there is a level of healing within the star as well. There's this kind of this reflective energy of looking at the waters, that emotional body, to check in. How are we doing? How are we feeling? Are the waters murky? Are the waters clear? Are the waters moving? Or are they stagnant and stale and being poisoned by the toxicity that is around us? The other one that came out was the Knight of Pentacles, so slow and steady movements, being very mindful, being very conscientious, and to really have focus on the most important things at any given moment, and being very methodical and even strategic, but moving one step at a time, stopping to look around. How does this feel? How does that feel? Where do I find myself when I do this or do that? And how am I seeing progress? We have the Four of Swords, so more healing energy. I feel like a lot of healing is coming into your life. And that is part of the obstacle and challenge, is how can you find healing? Now, detachment could be a thing that you move through, if that is something that is available and something that you are open to and that feels good to you. But I feel like there is a lot of healing and a lot of coming back to self, following your North Star, offering yourself a sense of respite, security, safety with each step. And then we have the Judgment, which is that higher calling, that thing that is tugging at our soul, that you need to come here and come there. And there's a second chance with the Judgment as well, as we are resurrected from the ashes, like the phoenix rising from the ashes. We get this chance to be transformed into something new. Once things have burned down, the tower is coming back into my mind again. We can start afresh. We can start to create who we want to be and express ourselves in bold, bright light, fire, action, energy, passion, desire, following in that direction. But there is a sense of having respite with the Four of Swords here, of being able to really process the pain and the hurt that you have endured, and what and how that has impacted you, how that has impacted how you feel about yourself, what you believe about yourself, how you are taking action and showing up in the world because of that. You know, when I was dealing with a lot of my traumas and pains, I realized how much it was impacting my business. I was scared to push back and say no. I was scared to put up healthy boundaries. I would say yes to whatever the client wanted, even though I didn't feel like it was going to be the right choice or that I didn't have time to do something. I said yes, and I compromised my own needs, my own integrity to please and to essentially not get in trouble, not be yelled at. And in reality, I looked at how much of that was associated to my past experiences with people in my life, whether that is relationships or friendships, and how much that was seeping into my business. So once I realized that, I understood that I had to do some healing there and decide how I wanted to show up in a different way, a way that was honoring more of what I needed, what I wanted, and what I felt was right for me, while also doing my best to serve the clients as well. Bottom of the deck here, we have the Knight of Swords, which is this very intelligent taking action. So once you have an idea, this could be kind of the cutting away that happens, cutting somebody out of making quick, fast decisions because you've come to this decision that something's not working and there's no compromise on this other person's part to make the changes needed. So this is taking action, swift action, and being really decisive and intelligent, even though you might be a little bit on wobbly ground. Because I feel you want something that is a little more balanced and harmonious. So that is what you're after. Queen of Cups, you want to honor your emotional needs. You want to be able to receive the love that you've been given, that you have been giving all of this time. And so now it's time to really push through the gate, push through the wall to be able to get to that garden. I'm almost getting an image of you being in this dark, gloomy castle, and you can see this beautiful garden on the other side of this moat or this wall, this stone wall that looks immovable, that makes you feel like you're stuck on this island or in this castle forever, and you don't want to be here because it's cold and uncomfortable and unloving and ungiving, and you just see this beautiful garden on the other side. Let that be your motivation. Let self-love and let the happiness on the other side, the beauty and the abundance on the other side of this, be your guiding light to moving through it or moving beyond it, however you see fit. So this is what I have for you, my dear collective. If you'd like to dive deeper with a personal reading, the link to book one is in the description box. And with gratitude, I'm sending you my love, and we'll see you in my next reading.